Welcome back, Lacrosse. It's the time of year we start practicing in shorts. The snowbanks behind end lines melt, and conference play begins. This week we're man up with Princeton's Coulter Mackesy, one of the early Tewaaraton favorites. They have Cornell Saturday, and we have lots to cover. Starting this past week on Friday, March 7th.
Dakota Earman looked like DeMatha Rabel in his prime. Lehigh takes down Navy 13-8.
Our very own Lakota High, Sigma Chi, Aiden Fry nailed it. Dartmouth was a lock. They defeat Utah 11-9.
Yale prevails over Denver 15-10 at home.
Hail to King Sang. He went 6 for 8 as Harvard beats the big, hairy-legged Wolverines of Michigan.
Providence is back on track. They top Loyola 12-10.
Down 4-2. 2.5 left. Penn State beats Cornell 13-12 in overtime. Ethan Long shot the nail in the coffin.
UMass shows UVM which state school can smoke more corners and less bowls. 11-7.
Crab cakes and lacrosse. It is what they do. Maryland 14, Delaware 3.
Lars replaces Buffalo rug in his office with a tiger rug after UVA's trip to Towson. 11-6 Cavs.
Jacksonville Dolphins shoot 11 goals out their blowhole as they swim past High Point. 11-9.
Albany outguns Hobart 17-12 in the upstate bout.
Mike, you said it. Ohio State makes the ACC their BITCH. O'Leary buries the game winner on a textbook follow, handing Notre Dame their second loss in a row. 10-9 Buckeyes.
The Quakers shake, rattle, and roll past Villanova. 11-8.
Princeton defends the Tots Maestro Cup against Rutgers. 11-5. Ryan Crod Dick was standing on his. 24 saves.
Binghamton, Bombington, Stony Brook. 12-10.
Mac Lacrosse could replace Viagra. Kenesha shocked Sacred Heart. 10-8.
St. Joe's was like the red light district in Montreal. The polls were active. 17-11 over Drexel.
Thin ball tricks in front of 10,000 people are pretty kick-ass, man. Q's 13, Hopkins 10. Sitting in the studio, just shooting the shit, talking lax. A good weekend of college cross. Brett and I were in attendance at the Harvard-Michigan game. If you didn't see the content we've been spraying at you forcefully.
We look like math professors out there.
We tried.
People were.
You didn't do a great job.
First thing we do when we get to the gate, Dan tries to hand them his ticket, and it's flipped up, and she's trying to scan the barcode, and there's no barcode, and I just go, "Yeah, we don't go to Harvard." She just starts dying laughing.
Oh, so
Yeah, we were hot off the mark.
yeah. How was everyone's weekend, Mike? What'd you get up to?
The old ball and chain was down for the weekend. We actually went to Deluzia's Pizza in Raritan. It's like the one that was one of the highest rated pizza places by Dave Portnoy. It was fire. It's in Raritan, which isn't too far from Princeton, actually. Highly recommend if you're in the area.
Did it have ESPNU?
No. It was a shack. It was a shack, and there you gotta wait outside too. There's a line down the street to get pizza at that place.
To go watch Syracuse Hopkins. It's a line down the street.
That probably means it's pretty good pizza. If there's a line
good.
that far. Hayden, by the way, update for everyone. Hayden is now OC season has started or is starting.
Yeah, next week. All of our youth season started this week. High school season starts next week. Mike, you're kind of in the depths of high school season down in New Jersey, right?
Third practice today, man. Beautiful day in Jersey. It's good to be back part of the game, Hayden, as I'm sure you feel as well.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's getting to be that time of the year where the weather is nice, sun's beating down on you. Still got a couple weeks left. This past weekend I was in North Carolina playing some golf. Was there Wednesday to Sunday, so I flew back Sunday, caught the Hopkins Syracuse game. Good to get a little vacation in, a little golf in before we really pick up with lacrosse here.
We're not going to talk much about what happened this past week after the interview. So I do want to ask before we get to Coulter. Huge upset. Ohio State takes down Notre Dame. Crazy finish in Penn State Cornell. Penn State injured, very injured at the offensive end of the ball. Finds a way to get it done in Ithaca. Any thoughts on either of those games?
Yeah, I mean, great win for Penn State. I think going into that game, their whole starting attack was out. Matt Trainer wasn't playing. Really gritty win for Penn State, and I think they've arrived. We haven't talked a whole lot about them just because we haven't really known who they are, but they're as good as anybody. They're a Final Four team, Final Four contender at least. And yeah, I think Cornell wishes they had that one back, but Penn State's a good team. They can beat anybody. And then also, yeah, that Notre Dame lost to Ohio State, back-to-back losses for Notre Dame. It's not even close time to hit the panic button on Notre Dame, but back-to-back losses, kind of signifies that, maybe they're not as deep as we thought they were. And I think teams are game planning for Chris Kavanaugh a little bit better now. He can't really carry that offense. So I think they're just waiting on a couple guys to step up. Jake Taylor's obviously great. I think they're still figuring out who that fourth attackman is, whether it's Devin McClain or Behrman. But they need guys to step up. Their defense needs to play a little bit better. And they're still, again, another Final Four contender team, but they got to figure some things out. And there's no better time to do it than this weekend.
Ohio State, Mike, you said it.
I was just about to say, shout out to Ohio State, man. They start the season with kind of a tough loss to Utah at home, and everyone's kind of down on Ohio State, right? And they have some crappy games, and they've just kind of figured it out the past couple of weeks with 2 big wins. It just makes you think too. I mean, the Big Ten, the top of the Big Ten is good this year, man. Just got me thinking. Ohio State, Hopkins, Maryland's number 1 right now. Penn State, who you just talked about. I mean, that's the top of the Big Ten is legit. At least right now, they're playing some good ball.
A good Ivy versus Big Ten weekend for sure. All right, let's get into this interview with Coulter Mackesy. Roll the footage, Steven. Coulter, thanks so much for joining the show, man. I really appreciate it.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be on here.
Just want to check in. How's the season going? I think you enjoyed a nice dinner, and I do want to give a shout out to maybe the restaurant and the family you were joined by for a nice meal.
Of course. Shout out the Ginder family. Known them for a while. Unreal family. Thank you for taking us to Winberry's, a classic spot down here in Princeton. I took all the boys out. After a long week of dining hall meals, nothing beats a good town restaurant.
Fully paid for too. That's the best part. Sounds amazing. Yeah, it's been a privilege watching you guys play this year. I think I probably can speak for all these guys. I've watched more Princeton lacrosse than maybe any other team this year. You guys are a super fun, exciting team to watch. Everyone knew coming into the season you guys were going to be competitive, and it's shown through the first few games. Love watching you guys play, but it'd be great just to hear about the team this year and the group of guys you're with.
Yeah, totally. We definitely started building this team kind of right when last season ended. Obviously a tough end of the season, but tried to get the new freshmen acclimated as soon as possible. Whatever all the summer stuff is, get group chats going, introduce those guys to the team as quick as possible so we can kind of start building for the season. And just coming into the fall, we knew we had a lot of returning guys. We don't listen to the media that much, but we knew they were questioning our D mid unit or our goalie. But deep down, we knew that like those 2 positions were like the backbone of our teams and our strengths. And I think, that's shown early in the season. And other than that, just trying to build our chemistry throughout the year. Obviously, we started with some good out-of-conference games to get us ready for Ivy play, and we're just pumped to go up to Ithaca this weekend.
That's shocking to me because you're defensive midfielder number 4, Jackson Green. He's got to be one of the better D-middies in the country. He's had a huge impact early on this season.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best athletes I've ever seen on a lacrosse field. Obviously, he comes from a football background, but in high school, apparently he was like all state in football, basketball, lacrosse, just one of the most talented kids on the team. And obviously so pumped to have him help lead that D-Midi group. Him, Coop Mueller, guys like Liam Fairback, Michael Kelly, seniors kind of leading that group. Just kind of the backbone of every team is a good D-Mid unit. And especially this year, we're backing on those guys.
Yeah, Coulter, you mentioned your goalie is one of your strengths of your team, and Ryan Croddick, that was, I guess, to us, like one of the bigger questions, losing John Ficcaro, who I'd like to talk about a little bit. But how good has Ryan Croddick been, and how good of a presence has he been in cage for you guys this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen it since his freshman year. He's one of the most talented goalies I've ever seen, but obviously took a backseat to Mike G and Griffin Rackhauer and kind of learned a lot from them. And I think got to, see their success and was hungry to get his chance. And I mean, not a bad start for him and just keep carrying us into the season.
Yeah, definitely. And then, just kind of going off that, like you guys just went down to Carolina, played Duke and UNC, played against your former teammate, Mike Gianfrancaro. What was that experience like? That must have been, kind of like a weird space to be in. Guy who's so close to you, you shoot on every day, and now he's in a different jersey.
Yeah, it's definitely weird at first seeing him in the Carolina blue, not the orange and black, but kind of after the whistle blew, it kind of just felt like practice. That, you know, like you said, we've gone against each other for 3 years straight, and you know, he had an awesome game, and glad to see he's doing well down there, and not surprisingly is a team captain for them, leading that crew.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I can't imagine doing that, playing against like your best friend in a huge game like that.
Yeah, and then we played Joe Jongerkiss this weekend. He's another Princeton guy who's killing it at Rutgers. He took a more of like a funny approach to it. I guess Mike Jeek was more quiet and kept to himself during the game, but Joe is, you know, sending some friendly banter back and forth. But he's also a captain of Rutgers, which is not surprising too, just killing it.
Says a lot about your program, and yeah, I don't know how I would treat that. So I'd be chirping, or depends on how I'm feeling on the day. You guys must give it to him though, pretty good, both those guys.
No, we're all best friends at the end of the day, but for that 1 hour, we're not friends.
Yeah, I love it. I want to ask about that weekend a little more. I watched every second of both those games. I can't say that about every team, but for you guys in those games, I watched all of it. It's tough not to recognize that weekend is kind of resemblant of Memorial Day weekend, where you play a game and then you get a day off and then you play another game. Is that the goal for your coach and your program? Is that something you guys talk about? Like, is this, you know, are we trying to recreate Memorial Day weekend?
I think in the back of our mind, we kind of know it's a good prep for that and the Ivy League tournament. But at the end of the day, I think it's just two great opponents that, you know, we get to make a trip out of and have a special memory with our team, because I love away trips. I love spending time with the team and kind of getting away from school, and having a trip like that, like where we fly down. It's the first time in my career we've flown, was last year to Carolina, and then this year again. But yeah, you know, it felt like kind of a business trip for us, leaving campus, getting on a plane, flying down, and we were just focused on those two games.
And it's a little different, I guess, than a tournament play where you know exactly who you're going to play on the second day, or the third day, I'll say, or the second game. Do you scout both teams before that first game, or is it kind of get ready for Duke, play that game, win it, and then go prepare for UNC for a day?
Yeah, I think that week was more scouted towards Duke, that first game, but honestly, we kind of just played our style of ball that week and did a lot of like ones versus ones and kind of had hard practices that week, because we knew like both games were going to be tough, but we also didn't want to look ahead towards UNC without taking care of business on Friday. So yeah, I think a lot of that week was spent looking at Duke and just kind of preparing ourselves and honing in our skills.
100%. Mike, you're far closer to Coulter in terms of proximity down in Jersey, so I'll pass it to you if you have any questions.
Sure. Yeah, I actually, we were chatting right before this. You know, I live in Jersey. I grew up in Jersey. First lacrosse game I ever went to was a Princeton lacrosse game. And it was actually before you guys had that beautiful stadium that you guys get to play at. I believe it was in the football stadium where you guys used to play. And it's just one of those memories where you kind of fall in love with lacrosse. And, you know, obviously, Coulter, you play in a hotbed in Jersey. Great crowds at your games. You know, a lot of kids look up to you specifically. What's it like, you know, being an absolute stud lacrosse player at Princeton, representing the school?
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels surreal. You know, I looked up to so many guys growing up, you know, guys on every team. I wasn't really a fan of one team growing up. I wasn't like, none of my parents went to like a lacrosse school per se. So I kind of just grew up loving like individual players. Definitely had a bias towards like lefty attackmen and whatnot. But yeah, it's cool. I get a lot of time to interact with young kids. I love coaching, so I love giving back to, you know, that younger generation, because a lot of people have sacrificed a lot of time and effort during my development, and especially in a place like Princeton where a lot of kids grow up playing lacrosse and coming to Princeton games. I think it's awesome for them too, because I didn't really have that experience growing up. You know, I think I had a pretty busy athletic schedule, so I wasn't always lucky enough to go to these big college games. But, you know, I remember watching highlights until past my bedtime growing up, which I remember very vividly.
Yeah, no, that was a part of all of our childhoods, I think, picking players that we loved and watching them. I remember last time you were on last year, you mentioned that you were a big squash player too. You still involved in that at all, or have you kind of given that up?
Yeah, I still play once in a while. I was in New York this summer, so I got to pick up the racket a few times. Play my brother and dad a bunch here and there. But yeah, it's a good mix up. Lacrosse is definitely a little violent here and there, but playing racket sports is always close to my heart. So a good change of pace.
I've never played. Maybe we can get a game in one day.
Yeah,
but
we can skip
Do
that.
you have any squash highlights
get
we could throw up?
I might. I don't know. Maybe from back in the day.
so
Probably.
I guess we'll stay on it. Like, did you play competitive high school squash?
Yeah. So my Brunswick team was like one of the best teams, I guess, in the history of high school squash. We won 3 national championships.
No way.
Damn.
Yeah, two of my
That's a little
teammates.
squash.
Two of my teammates actually just won the college championships at Penn, so it was good to see those guys crushing it. But yeah,
So is it like singles? Like, is it broken up like tennis, where it's like first singles, second singles, first doubles,
Yeah,
second
so it's-
doubles?
college squash and high school squash is just singles, but it's high school's 7 per team, college is 9. So you got to win in college. You got to win 5 matches,
Gotcha.
and then
Yeah.
high school 4.
Gotcha.
Were you getting offered for squash too out of high school?
Yeah, I was looking at pretty similar schools for both squash and lacrosse, both some Ivy League and a few ACCs. But glad I
Wow.
made.
Was there ever a thought of playing 2 sports, or are they the same season? Or
Squash is winter, but once I kind of picked lacrosse, I kind of went full force for lacrosse, and squash is also a good lifetime sport that I'll continue playing for the rest of my life, and lacrosse is probably a shorter window for sure.
I feel like it's one of those sports where like a school is just crazy good at it. You had no idea. Like I went to St. Lawrence, upstate New York. They have a Division I squash team, and it was like hectic going in the gym. Like it was packed. Like there was a ton of people there. Like it was just a riot, and like everyone was all about it. So I've been in that environment. It's pretty crazy. I feel like it's kind of electric if you haven't seen a squash match.
I feel like ESPN Plus should be thanking us for this conversation.
Yeah.
I think people are going to watch some.
If you go on ESPN Plus, it probably has squash in front of lacrosse when you scroll over.
It's Jai
Most
Lai.
likely.
It's Jai Lai, and then it's lacrosse.
Jai Lai, that's what it is.
Yeah, highlight.
Jai Lai. Have you ever
No,
watched
check
any
it out,
Jai
though.
Lai, Coulter?
Maybe in Dexter.
But yeah, switching gears, kind of going this weekend. You guys are going to Cornell, first Ivy League matchup. You got the bulk of your out of conference out of the way. You got a couple more down the road, but you're really kind of into the thick of Ivy League play. The Ivy League is stacked again this year. It always is. I think, you could say that you guys in Cornell are at the top of that right now. What are the mindsets going into this weekend, going up to Ithaca, playing a really solid Cornell team?
Yeah, it's definitely a game that we've circled for a while. Cornell's definitely had our number for a number of years now. A lot of tough losses, a lot of games that have come down to the wire that have just slipped out of our hands. But we're ready to go. It's a new team this year, and never take a game for granted. But this one's definitely one that we're looking forward to.
What do you see from them? What do you see in Cornell compared to some of these other teams you played?
Yeah, I just think obviously good across the board, very disciplined, very athletic, good rope unit, and then obviously some star players across the field, but nothing we don't see every day in practice. So we're just prepping to bring our best up to Ithaca.
100%. And you guys have done a lot of amazing things this year, so I don't want to focus on the one loss too much, but I do want to ask about it. I think Maryland, the last few times you guys have played them, they kind of have your number right now, not to say things can't change, but I'm certain just based on the success you've had since then, you guys certainly learned something from that loss against Maryland. What did you take away from that game and playing that team?
Yeah, I think, Maryland has had our number for a few years, but I think early in the year, it's kind of no matter what the result is, it's kind of good for our team. No matter what happens, we're going to learn a ton from it and take a ton away from that game. And that game definitely helped us learn, who we were and who we needed to become. And with a good week of prep, I think we took a step forward, but I do think this team hasn't played its best lacrosse yet. And I think that's the scary part. And hopefully this weekend we'll play a full 60 minutes of lacrosse.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all pumped for that game. It's one of our games of the week. I'll let you. It's pretty late, 8:45, so you're probably getting ready for bed pretty soon. But you don't get to talk to one of the best players in the country every day. So I'm sure we all have some quick hitters we'd like to ask. I'll start. Who, in your opinion, is the best defender that you've ever gone against?
Probably
some
George
of them.
Bond.
Okay.
Guys like
Bond.
George Bond, another teammate, Colin Molshine. Bunch of studs.
Yeah. Good answer. I got a quick one. Who strings your sticks? You have a unique like top string, I guess, and I don't know. I've always been curious. It's a unique way to string your stick. Do you do it, or do you have a guy who you trust?
Yeah, I string all mine. I mean, I've been
You do?
stringing since I was like 12 years old. Wouldn't trust a soul on this earth. I'm kidding. I'm not that picky, but no, I grew up love stringing. Like, I was addicted.
Yeah.
I actually told a story to my team this week about how much I was addicted to stringing sticks.
Were you watching Greg or were you watching Throne? Like who was your guy?
Everything, like
Yeah?
everything. I would like try to screenshot like random photos of like players I looked up to and like zoomed in as much as I could to like
Figure
figure
the
out
pattern.
like what pocket they used, and then like every holiday I was like, I need this stick. I never needed a new stick, but I was like, I need this one so I can like string it up.
Okay, I got a question as someone who strings sticks as well. If you could only string one head for the rest of your life, what head would that be? You can string it as many ways as you want, but you can only pick that head to string it.
That's a good question. I mean, I have fond love for the Lakota, so it's hard not to choose that one.
Yeah. Good answer.
Groundbreaking
But,
head when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, I was on every edition, and they just keep getting better.
Yeah, I'm the same way with the String King Mark I legend. It just keep getting better.
Say what you want about their manufacturing system and how they exploit Asia and China specifically, but a Nike swoosh on a head is pretty sexy. That looks,
Totally.
Say what
Yeah.
you want.
You used a Lakota, didn't you?
Traditionally strong.
Oh, it's a badass stick.
Yeah. It was I switched to mesh. I wasn't John Sexton, so I made the switch over. Mike, I'll pass it to you, brother. If you have any last questions for Coulter.
Yeah, I guess a quick one and back to Cornell. I'd say, at least in our conversations, you and CJ Kirst are top three for sure for the tour, and at least at the moment. Obviously, when you come to a game, you got to worry about, who's covering you, your matchup, and beating him. But you also have that thought in the back of your mind that you kind of want to, outperform or outshine the guy that's competing with you to get that top prestigious award.
I mean, I don't think that really crossed the mind ever. Just trying to get the win and help my team as much as I can. But, I think we got answers for them, and hopefully we figure them out. But yeah, no, I think just try to get the win no matter what happens, no matter what we can do. Just come out of Ithaca with a W.
It's a good question, Mike.
Great answer.
You went for it. You went for it.
I did go for it. That's the humble answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
He gets the same thing from Manning or Brady, I'm sure. So that's what it's going to be resemblant of.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like every time I watch you guys play, you mentioned earlier, Coulter, the big thing this year is, creating that chemistry, building the chemistry. Kabiri, Burns. There's a lot of youth teams and coaches we go out and say, hey, you guys got to build chemistry. Like, you need to be better together on the field, off the field. What have you guys been doing to sort of increase that chemistry? Is it, something more off field? Is it on field? How do you sort of curate that? And how are you going to build that over the season?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy just because how close we are off the field. Like we were basically like best friends since the first time I met them, coming in their freshman year, and since then we've like only kind of gotten closer, and then just little things after practice when we're just throwing around, doing like mini drills, throwing to each other, kind of like sending clips back and forth. It's just little things like that kind of build our chemistry. And I think at the end of the day, just all of our love for like lacrosse and love for this program is kind of, I think, takes part in our chemistry, and I think we're just getting started too. So excited to keep building.
You made me cry.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Thanks.
Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck this weekend against Cornell, and the rest of the way we'll be watching closely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Water guns, that's a birthday party. That's a birthday party thing. A nail gun.
Children.
A nail gun puts a nail in something, and it stays there for 30 years, and it does, and it keeps it there. And these nail guns are keeping their programs on top.
All right. Thanks to Coulter Mackesy for that interview. Fired up for that game. One of our games of the week. We're going to talk about it in a bit. Don't forget to follow the podcast. Merch is live. It's not that one, but it's over there. You can kind of see it. Kind of can't. Hayden, we're on the sweatshirt.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Aiden's got the sweatshirt on.
Go on the back.
I have the t-shirt and khaki, and then I have the trucker hat, and then we have the blue one. I think we had the gray one on last week, right?
Yeah, I'm wearing the thong with our logo. You can't see it. Actually, wait to the end of the episode. I'll show everyone. Our Bully Boy nail gun of the week. Brett, you want to talk about Bully Boy? Then we'll talk about nail guns.
Absolutely. Hey, looking for a bold, handcrafted spirit with real character? Meet Bully Boy Distillers, Boston's own small batch distillery, crafting award-winning whiskey, rum, vodka, and more. Whether you're sipping neat or mixing up a cocktail, Bully Boy delivers quality you can taste. Visit at bullyboydistillers.com to learn more.
Nail guns. Who is it? Who is he?
Me today. It's me today.
Who is it, Mike?
We're going to start off with the question here. I don't know if you guys noticed, there are only 3 teams left in Division I that are undefeated. Do you guys know who they are?
Don't. If you know all 3, top of your head, don't answer it.
You know or you don't?
I know all of them.
Okay.
Fairfield,
I know the second one.
Maryland.
Yep.
One
That's
more.
the one I know.
It's gonna be some underdog team. Gonna be some.
I knew those two.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Army.
Finish it off. Yep.
No. Underdogs.
Those are the 3.
Disrespectful.
One of them
I'm gonna
is
wake up with a gun
our
in my
nail
mouth.
gun of the week. That is Andrew Baxter and the Fairfield Stags. Fairfield, if anyone hasn't really, focused on them or paid attention to them in the past few years, they've only had 4 seasons with 7 or more wins in the last decade. Not exactly a terrific run for the Stags. They are currently 7-0, which is wildly impressive, and possibly looking to go undefeated if you look at the rest of their schedule in the regular season. Remaining games are Hampton, Drexel, Stony Brook, Hofstra, Delaware, which is the toughest one, Towson, and Monmouth. That is the rest of their schedule. In this hypothetical, if they win out, they're 14-0. That's very, very difficult, but it is doable with the way they've been playing and how good the rest of the teams are. Andrew Baxter, who's their head coach, I don't know if you guys know this, he took over in 2019, came over from Yale. He was kind of a part of instilling that culture. 2018, Yale won a national championship. 2019, they were the runner-up. Starts off at Fairfield. People thought it was, it was a really, really big move for Fairfield that was going to, have immediate success. And then, as I just told you, he only had 1 season above 500 since 2019. So didn't really have immediate success. People kind of think Fairfield is a school that it's in Connecticut, kind of a hotbed on the beach, has a lot of cells. How is this team not good? And I understand all that, but I think the reason that they get this award is, even though it's a fun school, even though it's on the beach, even though it's probably close to home for a lot of recruits, it's hard to say at a school that isn't consistently winning. It's just a fact. Year after year, you're having losing seasons. Usually more the top talent doesn't stay there or doesn't go there. It's just kind of how most people choose their schools or if they decide to transfer. Now this team and Andrew Baxter, this culture, this run, they've worked for it. Last year they were 8-7. This year they're 7-0, where we currently sit. Congrats to Andrew Baxter and the Stags. We, along with all of America, are rooting for you guys. Wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year.
Yeah, my Love that pick. Fairfield's super exciting to watch this year. And Andrew Baxter's a great coach. I think back to 2019 in that coaching cycle, like he was the premier candidate that was in that cycle. So the fact that he went to Fairfield, he definitely saw something there. He was coming off a 2018 national championship with Yale, was a defensive coordinator. If you remember that 2018 Yale defense, they were loaded. Chris Fake, Starr was in net, a couple other studs, a couple great D mids. But yeah, Mike, love that pick. Love what Fairfield's doing. It's good to see like a really true non-blue blood, kind of rise the ranks a little bit, trend upwards, and become a really exciting school, I think, for this year and for years to come.
I'm going to push back because I have free will. Sounds merely familiar to a team that started out hot last year.
NGIT.
And was winning a lot of, yeah.
I thought of this when I wrote it.
Doesn't it?
I think their ceiling's a bit higher than NJIT.
Their ceiling is higher, and we all knew that NJIT still had to win games of the America East, which was a tougher conference for at least their stature. The way that Fairfield is playing, and at least the level of talent that they have right now, there's only like two teams I see that can really stump them in the CAA, and that's Towson and Delaware.
Yeah, I mean, they can end their season on one Saturday. Crazy scenario. What if Fairfield has one loss this year in the CAA championship to Delaware or Towson?
Yeah, do they make the tournament?
No.
With one loss to Delaware,
look,
what are the best ones?
Going into that CAA tournament, they'd be, let's say, like 13 or 14 now, however many games they play. They'd probably be a top 10 team. Yeah. They'd probably be a top 10 team. I don't know how you couldn't put a 14-0 team outside the top 10. They have one loss. They would be right on the bubble for that at large.
They wouldn't get it.
They wouldn't get it. I don't still get it.
They wouldn't get it, and it's just because they don't really have good enough wins. Their best win right now is Lehigh.
Yeah. But
Providence is a good win, and Brown's a good win, I guess.
Yeah.
Say they beat Delaware and Towson in the regular season. That's a pretty.
They'll beat Delaware, Towson, Lehigh. Lehigh's a big one. Lehigh's going to win some games. They won the Patriot League last year. Everyone gives them shit.
They beat Navy already last week.
Yeah, handily.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to watch them though. They are a very exciting team to watch. Couple studs. Radishish is a guy that we've talked about. Keegan Lynch, Devin Lamprin, two really solid attackmen. One guy, number 54, Luke Okupski, is a guy that we haven't really talked about. But if I were to make an all underrated team in college lacrosse, Luke Okupski would be on it, number 54 for Fairfield.
That's actually a good idea too. We should definitely ponder on that. Doing an all underrated team.
Yeah.
One of our segments.
You'd be like an all guts.
That'd be a good one.
All guts, no glory team. Speaking of all guts, let's get into it, shall we?
There are some other stories we want to make sure we cover our all guts section.
All guts, no glory.
All guts, no glory. What we got?
All guts, no glory update. Last week we were 11-7 on the year. We're 37-30. We have spreads in the lineup now. Hey, Mike, you guys have 2 timeouts. You can use them however you wish. If you want to talk about a spread, if you want to talk about a team, please use them. There's some good games in this list, starting with Loyola at BU Patriot League. Matchup between these two teams. BU's 2.5 goal favorite at home. We're taking BU. Hobart at Dartmouth. I disagree with the pick here. Hobart at Dartmouth. Dartmouth is a 4.5 goal favorite at home in this one. CLG pick is Dartmouth.
Next, we have Towson -1.5 at Delaware. They're going to host at home. Again, 1.5 goal favorites. We are going with Delaware in this one. Second, we have Duke at Richmond. We're going with Duke.
Timeout. Yeah, I feel like this one's got to be talked about. This is just so similar to when I was saying Ohio State making the ACC their bitch. What about Richmond, man? Richmond beat UVA. Tell me they can't beat Duke at home. They beat UVA at UVA. Playing at home, that place gets packed. Good home crowd and a well-coached team who's having a pretty good year. Who's to say Richmond can't pull that out?
Duke did win this game big last year. That's the only thing that gives me some pause there.
Different team.
Yeah. No spread out yet on that game. We'll come back to it and feed the family. Duke play tonight, so that makes sense. Nice game. High Point at Georgetown. Georgetown 8-goal favorites in this one. Crew's obviously going to take Georgetown in this game. Big spread, though. UMass at Rutgers. We don't have a spread because we live in Massachusetts. Mike lives in New Jersey. We're taking Rutgers.
We got Brown at Penn. Penn is -3.5. What's Brown been up to last week? Who do they play?
This is my timeout.
Yeah.
I think Brown had a shaky start. Start on Penn. They're coming off a good win against Villanova. Obviously had those 2 losses to Duke and UNC and then Georgetown in the first week. So they've lost to some good teams. I think this is Brown's kind of coming out party. They beat a good Bryant team last week, lost to Georgetown the week before, and then beat Providence the week before that. So Brown's an interesting team, new coach, new identity. One guy I really like is Connor Foley, the goalie. I think he leads the country in saves per game, which isn't a great statistic for the defense as a whole, but he's an electric player to watch. He's a smaller guy, but he's really quick, really savvy with his stick, makes a lot of body saves. He's a big energy guy. So I like Brown. I think they're on the rise a little bit. Obviously, Penn's a good team, and Brown's offense is going to have to find a way to score some goals. But with guys like Aiden McLean and Wertheim and, some of their big middies, I think they can do it, at least cover.
Yep. We have Penn in that game. Next is Yale at Harvard. Harvard is -1.5 as well. We just saw them at home. They were electric. I believe we might be on site for this.
Maybe.
I guess it's undetermined, but possibly we'd be back. We have Harvard winning that game.
This is my timeout.
Yeah.
I'd be glad if we got some boots on the ground there. But you asked me 2 weeks ago if I would have called the timeout here. No, but after the way that Yale handled Denver, they finally got that signature win, and it just makes this game that much more interesting. Harvard is a good team. They've proven they can beat good teams with that win in the Dome against Cuse. This is an Ivy League conference game. Everyone knows how competitive this league is and how important every game is for RPI and to make it to the Ivy tournament. So this will definitely be a good battle.
Notre Dame 5-goal favorites at Michigan. Notre Dame trying to bounce back here. We're obviously taking Notre Dame in this one. Can't see them losing 3 games in a row, but who knows? No one was expecting that Ohio State victory. Marquette at Utah. Utah 3.5-goal favorites. Crew's taking the Utes.
Next we have Villanova at St. Joe's. St. Joe's is 3.5-goal favorites. Collectively, we have St. Joe's winning that game. Next we have Albany, who's -1.5 at Bryant. We decided on Bryant.
Bryant, do you remember last year, the start they had, some of the wins they had? They were hot. They had some good players. Johnny Hackett was in the team. They somehow missed the American East tournament, which didn't make any sense. I think they were like 4-2 in conference, coming down to the wire. Somehow, I don't know. All I'm saying is they're going to be attacking this league with fury because they have a lot to prove this year. I'm sure they thought if they were in the tournament, they could have won it. So excited for that game. Excited to see Bryant attack their conference. Stony Brook 1.5-goal favorites at Hofstra. Crew's taking Hofstra at home. Hopkins 5-goal favorites at Navy. Navy won this one last year in overtime. Jackson Hewitt scored the game winner. Crew's taking Hop.
Next we have Ohio State -2.5 at Denver. The Crew has Ohio State. Obviously impressive performance last weekend.
Timeout. I think it's due time that we put some respect on Ohio State. Long ago in week 1, they lost to Utah 19-13, and I think we all kind of piled on Nick Myers in the Ohio State program. It wasn't just us; it was everybody in the lacrosse world. Since then, they've won 7 straight, including beating Virginia and Notre Dame last week. So they're legit, and I think against that, in that Notre Dame game, we saw that they're a poised team. They have some studs. I think it was just a matter of time that they needed to kind of put it all together. But, their defense is great. Fayok and Net, Van Buren, obviously 2 studs down there. And then, Alex Marinier, the Canadian attackman, 24 goals, 1 assist. And then a whole lot of other guys. They're just like a big team on the field. Still, I don't think they're as skilled as a team like Notre Dame or Virginia, but they have athletes. They have Big Ten athletes. They're 7-1 now. Now they're getting into the bulk of their schedule. We always kind of look at their schedule early on. They play Utah, Detroit Mercy, Cleveland State, Bellarmine, Air Force. It's like, what are you guys doing? All right. Now they play Denver, and then they play Penn State, Rutgers, Hopkins, Maryland, and Michigan. So they're in the bulk of their schedule. If you want to call it good scheduling by Nick Myers, kind of get some cupcakes out of the way and then, get ready for Big Ten play and some of these out-of-conference games. Ohio State is back. They're, I don't want to call them a Final Four team just yet. They have a lot to prove, but, they proved it this past weekend that they can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excited for that.
Then we have Jacksonville traveling to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. UNC is 8.5 goal favorites. Pretty unanimous there that we have UNC.
Both those games, Ohio State, Denver, Jacksonville at UNC on Sunday. Moving on to our games of the week segment. Don't forget to like, follow, all that good crap.
We're very lucky, to say the very least. These are our games of the week. We have 3 games of the week. Our games of the week. We're just fired up to present to you our games of the week.
These are our games of the week. You just heard the soundbite, and we said it 3 times. And I'm so fired up for all of them. Maryland, 3-goal favorites at Virginia. This one's on Saturday at 4 p.m. on ACC Network. Great time for a game. You have no excuse not to watch it. No excuse. Nothing else is on. Nothing. Nothing else matters. It's Saturday at 4 p.m. besides Maryland and Virginia. We're going to start with matchups. Mike, you got some great notes. I'll pass it to you. We'll talk about McCabe Millen and the question everyone is asking.
The question that everyone is asking that has been called in on our podcast, I think mentioned twice, is McCabe Millen soft as a baby's ass? He's going to be in a good matchup. He's going to be covered by Will Schaller, who has been having a year and really emerging as a top defender after being the number 2 last year. I think diving save, right, in that Notre Dame game, diving in front of the cage, he's just that type of player, and he's tough. He covers tough, so I think this will answer the question for a lot of people if McCabe Millen's soft as a baby's ass, because he's going to be playing a physical defender, and we'll see what that matchup looks like. But I think a big thing here, UVA isn't as explosive as they usually are, which makes the trying to figure out Logan McNaney very tough, who's currently at a 65% save percentage and is one of the biggest reasons why Maryland is number 1 in the country right now. So I think that is very important, and everyone's going to be asking, can there finally be a blemish on Maryland's record? They're one of the final undefeated teams that I mentioned earlier. UVA is a good team, no matter what anybody says. So we'll see.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with that. Obviously, you got the star-studded matchups. It's interesting. I think there's so much talent on Virginia's roster, but, we're yet to see it. Dan, you just mentioned Johnny Hackett on Bryant, and, I almost forgot that he was on Virginia. He's played in 6 games. He only has 1 goal. He's a guy I thought that was going to have a lot more airtime on that Virginia offense. Another guy is Charles Balsamo, the Duke transfer. He has 1 assist on the year. I don't know if he's been playing in every game, but I think Virginia's struggling with some injuries and, have had to rely on some guys they didn't expect to rely on. So once those guys get back, if they get back, I think I agree with you, Mike, that Virginia has enough talent to beat anybody. With that said, I think Maryland's just on a different level right now. I think they win this game. It could be close, but I think they win this game.
Virginia getting so much heat, McCabe's getting a lot of heat. I mean, everything changes if you beat the best team in the country, and they got a great opportunity to do so. Excited for that one. Next game of the week, Princeton at Cornell. Cornell, 1.5 goal favorites. This one's on Saturday, 12 noon, ESPN Plus. We just talked to Coulter Mackesy about it. Trying to get a epic answer with him versus Kirst. Mike, you went for it. I wanted it too. It had to be asked. It's Manning Brady for our universe. We didn't get what we're looking for, but we're still fired up for it. Hayden, I'll start with you in this one. What are you most excited to watch in this game with 2 just stunning offenses?
Yeah, I think that question's always tough. Like, I don't think you ever go into a game, especially a game of this magnitude, saying, "Oh, I want to outplay another guy on the other team." Right? That's not really what it's about, right? It's about coming out of that game with a win. And I would be confident that CJ Kirst would say the same exact thing about that. Obviously, there's been questions about the Cornell defense, and Princeton's been lights out. So I guess I'm a little more excited to see if this Cornell defense can hold off the Princeton attack. If they do, that'll say a lot about them. And, I think Wyatt Nuss has to have a big game in net for Cornell. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, a high scoring game. There's athletes all over the field. There's tons of talent. The Cornell broadcast, I think, could be a little bit better. I think they could get that camera a little bit more zoomed in, closer to the field. Yeah, that Penn State Cornell game, like, what a great game. I just felt like the camera view was a little far away, But I'm excited to watch this game. This is going to be one for the ages.
Nothing on the local guy. He loves lax, but It'd be great to get a niche there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. It's not like an ACC, not a Big Ten matchup. Like, it's kind of like, I don't want to call it like a gritty game, but it is being played in Ithaca, New York. Like, it's a prototypical gritty game. Like, I'm just guessing there's going to be bad weather. Love an A1 broadcast team on that game.
It's just broadcast too.
Kind of the problem, right? That's a huge game.
This guy loves lacrosse.
Huge game.
Just hear it in his voice. So I don't want to give him too much shit, but the cameras mostly. Like, let's see.
Yeah.
I want to see the look in Coulter Mackesy's eyes when he stinks one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also excited. Coulter kind of mentioned it, that Cornell's had their number for the last couple of years. And, I think we would all agree that Cornell's been at the top of the Ivy League. Princeton's been close behind, but they haven't been able to crack it yet. And I think this is the year. This is a team that does it, especially Cornell coming off a loss and Princeton being as hot as they are. It's going to be exciting to see if Princeton rises to the circumstance and, kind of gets their glory back a little bit.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know what the over is, but I'm sure there's people out there who pay attention to this game and are like, Princeton offense versus Cornell offense, Mackesy versus Kirst. Give me the over right now. I don't care what it is. I bet there's people who think that.
25.5.
I bet it's 28.
Come on now. But the one matchup I'd like to point out, and Coulter mentioned, Colin Mulshine, one of the toughest defenders, he's ever had to go against. Obviously, that's in practice. He's on Princeton, but he was a first-team All-Ivy last year. He's going to be on CJ Kirst, who is the favorite for the Tewaaraton right now. That'll be a good matchup to keep an eye on.
You love your matchups. Can't say enough great things about this game. Need to watch it. Next game of the week, our last one, also Saturday at noon on ESPN Plus. Army at Lehigh. Army is 5.5 goal favorites in this one. A lot of you are probably asking, why is this a game of the week? What are we doing? Why are you wasting 5 minutes of my commute talking about Army at Lehigh? Well, here's why. We haven't talked about Army enough. The future leaders of our nation are playing unbelievable lacrosse on both ends of the field right now. And I am embarrassed of how little I've watched of them this year. Hell, I watched them play Holy Cross for a lot of that game. I think it was at a weird time. For some reason, I had it on. And they were playing 2 different games. Like, it didn't, I felt bad for Holy Cross. Army just looked different, older.
Same thing with Yale, too. I watched Yale.
Yeah. And they just looked bad. And then Lehigh, we talked about earlier in the episode, they're getting all this shit for the slow start they had. They just beat Villanova. You'll edit this. They just beat Villanova and Navy. They beat Navy handily. And they won the Patriot League last year. Say what you want about Lehigh. They can make a run. They got a great head coach. They have some ball players, some great recruits who are super talented and do things in games that you say, wow. So I'm personally fired up for this game. It's going to be a defensive battle. So, Mike, I'll let you talk about it first, specifically Army. Talk about offense first, whatever you want.
All right. I'll leave the offense to Hayden. But I do think, for obvious reasons, Dan mentioned a lot of them, Army is in the at-large conversation, obviously. With the loss to Lehigh, who is a Patriot contender always, won it last year, as Dan said, it just makes you think they cannot lose to Lehigh. They can't. They want an at-large. Obviously, you're going to win a conference championship. Everybody is. But if they don't, a Lehigh loss would loom large at the end of the season. But Army has guys at every single position that you need a guy at, which is why they're a top 10 team. Just to name a few, at attack, Jackson Eicher, midi, Evan Plunkett, defender, AJ Pilot, who's an eraser, and their goalie, Sean Byrne, has a 73% save percentage.
Holy crap.
We're talking about monsters all over the field that are just statistical nightmares for other teams. But then you have Lehigh, like you said, Dan, terrible start to the season, but they're 1-0 in Patriot League play over a good Navy team. They won it last year. They know how to win. They have that culture. And Lehigh always has good guys on their team. Richard Checo, who we've mentioned before, naming one defender. He's probably one of the best statistical defensemen in the game. His 19 GBs and 14 cost turnovers already, which is crazy. And they also have a good face-off guy in Sean Dow, who's at around 60%. It was second team All-Patriot League last year, so it's going to be a defensive battle. This is going to be a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, Mike, I agree. I kind of just want to mention a couple more guys that, you missed among that cast of characters you already said. Christian Fournier, their LSM, leads the country in caused turnovers per game. He averages 3.8 caused turnovers per game. Sean Byrne, their goalie, who you mentioned, leads the country in save percentage. They have the number one scoring defense. They let in 4.67 goals per game, right? And then, like you said, they have studs on offense as well. I think some of these statistics are a little skewed because of the schedule that they've played. They really haven't played an elite schedule, I would call it. They beat UMass, Rutgers, Mercer, Lafayette, Holy Cross. They're 6-0, but now they're kind of getting into the bulk of their schedule. This, I would say is probably going to be their second or third toughest game. But like you said, Lehigh's a good team. It's Patriot League play. This could be a little closer than you think. What was the spread? 5.5? Yeah, I think it could. That's a good line. I think, I would expect Army to kind of blow that out of the water, but Lehigh is a good team that's scrappy and is going to fight in this game. But yeah, Army is just a top tier team. Through these 6 games, they have one of the best clearing percentages in the country. Get some of top 10 in ground balls per game. They're just all over the tops of these leaderboards and statistical categories. So, I agree. We haven't talked about them much, but I also think it's because they haven't played really a marquee game.
Of course they cleared better than anyone.
Yeah.
They're armed. Of course.
It's all discipline and practice.
I will tell you one of the most
Surviving.
the game that I think I'm most excited for the month of March,
Dominating.
it's UNC, March 29th
Where is that?
at UNC.
Circle it.
See if I have enough points.
Really good flights.
Yeah. Hotels. No, I'll save it in the car for that one. But that's, yeah. Also, UNC, their stadium broadcast panned over to the side that the camera's shooting from. You ever seen that before?
I don't think so.
It's packed. There's 4,000 people for a big game.
Yeah.
From like the Princeton game. It was a Sunday too, early Sunday. Everyone goes to lacrosse games on Sundays in North Carolina because no one's doing anything. You go to church and then you go watch Tar Heels.
You get golf, afternoon round.
And then you play AT and have a transfusion. But there was it's amazing. UNC is setting themselves up to get A1 broadcast from ESPN. They're setting themselves, if they keep winning games, they're going to get Anish, they're going to get Quint, whole crew, the whole team is going to fly down.
Yeah. Yeah, you're saying this because the typical view, it looks like there's no one ever there.
Right. Because, yes, with the sideline, the teams room, it looks like, there's 8 people there. It doesn't even look like their parents showed up. But you pan back over, and that's what will happen with a day one broadcast. We're not going to get it. But back to these games, if you could go to any one of the 3, which one would you go to? I got to say Princeton at Cornell.
Yeah, I would say the same.
How do you pass up a chance to go watch those 2 teams play?
But
Princeton, Cornell.
Klockner, though, too.
Especially after just heartwarming from Coulter, just his presence. Just want to go watch him execute, personally.
What do you guys like in these games? Maryland at Virginia first.
Maryland.
Princeton at Cornell.
Princeton.
Love it, Coulter, but I got to go Cornell. Army at Lehigh.
Next question.
Let's move on. Does Lehigh cover, though? Does Lehigh cover 5.5 goals and feed our families?
No.
I like the spread.
Like Lehigh spread?
You like Lehigh spread or Army spread?
Lehigh spread.
What other spreads do you like, Mike?
We getting right into it?
Yeah, let's feed.
Well, shout out Johnny first. He mentioned 2 to me that I like as well. Delaware plus 1.5 first Towson, and Ohio State minus 2.5.
I don't know if I like those.
I really like Delaware plus 1.5 against Towson. I think Towson's kind of been overhyped all year. They've been overhyped by Vegas, I think probably because of their preseason ranking, and then they got Mikey Weishar, who's a first-team All-American. I think that goes into it. I think Delaware's a legit team. I've watched Towson a couple times this year, been, a little underimpressed. So yeah, I like Delaware in that. I think Delaware's a solid team. I think they win that game.
I like Penn to cover 3.5 goals at home against Brown.
I like it too.
Yeah, that seems a little broken to me.
I like the Terry brothers bounce back win after Rutgers -5.5 against Mercer at home.
I also really like Sacred Heart money line. They're home against Siena. They're 1.5 goal favorites, but I really like Sacred Heart winning that game.
Such a pain in the ass. You got to log into DraftKings every time you get on there. It knows who I am. It knows that I waste my money with it every week. It knows my mug when my camera looks at my face.
Agreed.
And I know you're high on Dartmouth. I like Hobart +4.5 at Dartmouth.
Yeah, close your ears, boys. Coach Raymond doesn't want you to listen to this, but yeah, I think they cover for sure.
Yeah, Mike, I actually like that game. That game was pretty close last year, maybe until like the last couple minutes in the fourth quarter.
I don't think it was 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Another underdog I like is Quinnipiac at Marist. Quinnipiac is 2.5 goal underdogs. I think that's a game that they can win. I think Mason Oak is a guy that we talked about a lot about last year. He's just as good this year. I think he's a guy who can win that game for Quinnipiac, and that's a good bang for your buck pick right there.
I also love Albany at Bryant. Bryant +1.5. We already
So-
talked about that.
That's my
Bryant
favorite.
+1.5.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite bet of this entire weekend.
So we're feeding the family with it.
I'd be more than okay to feed my family with that one.
Bryant +1.5.
What's your gut, Hidden?
At home,
At Bryant with that massive Jumbotron screen they got there.
playing the team who won the conference tournament that you didn't make last year, and Bryant won this game at Albany last year in the regular season, in overtime, I believe.
Yeah, but Albany only beat Hobart by 5, so that's not great.
He's saying Albany must not be that good because they only beat Hobart by 5.
I like Bryant.
Okay, Albany got hot that game. They played well. They were scoring goals I've never seen.
At
I
Hobart.
like them drug tested. I think they're taking peyote before games to pull off some of these around the world shots.
Getting creative.
Scott Mars like, you take this, you take that, and they're just doing shit we've never seen.
The Dayhouse Dunks. They're listening to the theme song. It's their roots.
I also like Notre Dame -5.5 at Michigan. I think it's time for a big bounce back from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
2 losses in a row. Michigan's been subpar so far this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think going through this, there actually are a lot of good bets this weekend. I think, like, looking at it, I feel a little more confident than I have the last couple weekends. But yeah, I mean, if we want to feed the family, I'd say Bryant +1.5 at home is kind of the best underdog bet that I've seen.
I like it.
I like it.
The Notre Dame game last year, too, against Michigan, that was a blowout. I think Notre Dame won by a lot. I think they can do the same thing. I think Michigan's at a bit of a crossroads now. Okay. Enjoy the beautiful weather. And if you're thinking about going outside and doing something fun with family, friends, maybe a loved one, don't. Sit on the couch, watch Lax, or go to a game.
Come to the satellite.
Give us a call. Give us a knock. We'll let you in. 3 knocks. You know it's for Lacrosse. Thanks all.